Sales is a team sport, a C-suite executive leadership team sport. Let me show you what I mean. What we're looking at is a tool I originally built for one client. It's now become one of the more requested things that I share. Almost every leadership team that sees it asks, why don't we have something like this? Let me explain the purpose first. I have a client who wants all of their executive leadership team to be actively involved in removing anything that might slow or block revenue. So we designed for them a simple system and process to make that possible. Each week, the sales team identifies the biggest blockers on their most critical deals. Specifically, we look at the top deals that can make or break a quarter. So not the entire pipeline, just the few that critically matter. Then we categorize those blockers into each functional area of the organization. In other words, the CMO's marketing team, of course, there's sales, chief customer officers, implementations and services teams, product, engineering and tech, the COO's legal and compliance work, and the finance team's deal desk. So every blocker has a clear cross-functional area and thusly a clear C-suite executive lane. We identify the blockers in the weekly pipeline review, and then we surface it to the C-suite for 5 or 10 minutes in the next weekly CEO staff meeting. Now, instead of vague updates, leaders see exactly where they can help. So for instance, if we look at this, we can see this first deal here, it's not going to move forward because the onboarding timeline is too long for a Q2 launch, which creates issues for this prospect's busy season. They don't want to migrate during the busy season. So if we can compress the implementation timeline, we can win this deal for $1.2 million, which isn't chump change for this organization. Or it might be that this particular deal here is requiring a solely dedicated CSM to their account, which is highly non-standard. So this is something that the organization together would have to say, do we want to do this? What's the cost? So when executives see a $3 or $4 million deal sitting behind one or two solvable issues, alignment happens pretty fast, action happens pretty fast. But first you need to create that visibility, and this framework does that. It does 3 things. It creates visibility in a very nice, neat, easy way to see. And yet also it creates cross-functional revenue ownership. Every blocker has a responsible executive mobilizing their team to unblock these items before the next staff meeting. And thirdly, it illustrates that no one in the organization, not even a C-suite member, is removed from the responsibility of being active in driving growth. As you can see, we list not only the blockers, the things that are currently actively blocking a deal from moving forward, but even those things that have the potential to, risks in the future. And sales isn't just about identifying those things that are blocking or could block, but also celebrating the wins. So we also have really key things like, hey, chief product officer, the prospect said this new UI is the best thing that they've ever seen in this industry. Or we checked in on this POC that we're doing, and hey, chief customer officer, we were told this is the best CS team we've ever worked with. You can see all of them as well, not just the risks, the wins and blockers separately, but you can see all of these things. Now, this doesn't just apply to new business. This same model works for retention and churn reduction. You can track blockers to renewals, risks to GRR, and even cross-functional actions, things that other team members did that absolutely were critical and pivotal to saving accounts. Because at the end of the day, revenue transformation is about the entire organization. It's about executive governance and cross-functional alignment. When the C-suite is visibly connected to revenue outcomes, deals move faster, blockers get cleared, accountability improves across the entirety of the organization. So if you're a CEO or a chief revenue officer who wants your leadership team more actively contributing to revenue, this is the kind of system that can make it real. Executive involvement isn't a nice to have, it's a need to have. It's one of the highest leverage drivers of revenue transformation. So if this looks interesting to you and you'd like to implement a process and a tool like this to help you accelerate revenue transformation, this is one of the many ways that RevX does this for your organization.